Hello students, I am here with another video from the chapter of class 7th of your Science NCERT book. The name of the chapter is Acid, Bases and Salts. So before starting today's video, I would like to tell you that yesterday we have discussed about the various concepts which were related with acids and bases. I have given you one general view of the about acids and bases, and in the details we have studied about the indicators. So now today's topic will deal with the description of acids and bases. Now the first topic which we are going to discuss is the acids and about its properties and how are we going to distinguish about these properties. So first of all, I would like to tell you that if we are going to taste this acid, now what are the products, what are the things which is containing acid? For example, it's given here. If we cut a lemon and taste it, okay, now if you are cutting a lemon and tasting it, the lemon appears to be sour taste. Okay, it has a sour taste. Now when it means that acids are going to taste sour in nature. Okay, these acids are having sour in their sour in their taste. The sour taste of the lemon is due to the presence of acid in it. The acid present in the lemon which gives us sour taste is called citric acid. So we now know that the acid which is present in the lemon is giving you sour taste, and that the name of that acid is citric acid. Raw mango, raw grapes, lemon juice, orange juice, curd, sour milk, vinegar and tamarind, all these are having sour taste, means they are having similar in taste, and the similarity between the taste of these substances, these chemical substances is the acid in it. Now acid is of different types. They contain different types of acids. Now acid present in plant material and animal material are called, they are naturally obtained and they are known as organic acid. Okay, so we have got the type of acid, that there are two types of acids. First type we have studied, that it is organic acid. Okay, now the taste which we were obtaining was from the natural substance, that is why it is known as organic acids. Okay, now these acids have other properties also. Let us read about the definition first, and then I'll tell you the acids and various properties of acids. Okay, now the first property which we have studied is the sour taste. Okay, so the substances which react with a base to form salt is called an acid. Okay, or we can just say that the acids are sour in taste, they turn blue litmus red. Yesterday we have studied about the litmus as well as the indicators. Now if we are adding litmus to it, it is going to change blue litmus to red. Okay, so first property, which is the taste, it is sour in taste, it is turning blue litmus red, it is corrosive in nature. Now what is this word corrosive in nature? Corrosive means that it is very harmful in nature. Okay, for example, if certain acids is going to be it is going, somehow it spills on floor, then what happens? Or it spills on your cloth, then what will happen? It is going to burn that area, so it means that it is highly dangerous. So it means that we have to handle that acid with very much care. Okay, now we can see the different types of acids which are present in your laboratory also, but they are just other than those of the those of the organic acids. Okay, so I'll let you know that what kind of acid is there which is present in your labs. Now we have understood that acids are the substances which are sour in taste, which turns blue litmus red, and are corrosive in nature. So you could combine these three words for writing the definition. As it is given here, a substance which reacts with base to form salt and water is called an acid. So it is, you don't know, first of all, I think till now we have not discussed about the word neutralization, or we have not discussed about the neutralization reaction. So I am not going to discuss much more for this definition. So the next definition that will be very much simple and easier for you all to learn will be that acids are the substances which are sour in taste, which turns blue litmus red, and are corrosive in nature. Okay, so This is what is about the acid. Now there are two types of acid. The two types of acids are the organic acids and the mineral acids. Now the substances, the acids which are obtained from the nature or from the natural things, they are known as organic acids. Okay, the examples of organic acids are as follows, such as acetic acid, formic acid, citric acid, lactic acid, tartaric acid, ascorbic acid, and oxalic acids. So organic acids and mineral acids which are listed below. And what about mineral acids? Mineral acids are those which are obtained from minerals. Okay, they are obtained from minerals. They are obtained from the earth's crust. Okay, they are present inside the earth, so they are obtained from the earth's crust. That is why they are known as mineral acid. And those which are obtained from plants and animal products, they are known as organic acids. Okay, now means they are obtained from living things, they are organic, and if they are found from non-living things, it means from the earth soil, from the earth's crust, it is known as mineral acid. Now they are trapped between the rocks, they are formed from the rocks. So I have told you about two types of two types of acids, that is organic as well as mineral acids. Now organic acids occur naturally. They are found in various plants and animal products. Okay, now acetic acid is found in vinegar. Okay, we will see one by one that where are these acids found. The first is acetic acid is found in vinegar. Vinegar, everybody knows that in your home we use vinegar to preserve our food. We use vinegar in preserving the pickles and jams, jellies. Okay, you could just turn your sauce bottle of the sauce and you could read the ingredients over there, so you will find that there is acetic acid present in it. Okay, fine. Now next is about the formic acid. It is present in ants' sting. Okay, now when you find that any ant stings you in your skin, then what happens? That area is causing very much pain in it. You have pain in your arms or legs wherever it has bitten you, and it also gives us swelling sensation or itching sensation over there. It is because of the acid which is present in ants' sting, that is formic acid. Okay, next is the citric acid, which is present in the citrus fruits. Citrus means khatta fruits. Okay, so it is like lemon, oranges, raw mangoes. So all these are the fruits which are citrus in their taste. So citrus taste is because of the acid known as citric acid. Next is the lactic acid, which is present in the curd. It is present in sour milk. Okay, so lactic acid is present in the curd. Next is tartaric acid, which is present in the tamarind. Tamarind means, it is written here in the bracket, that is called imli. So it is present in tamarind, unripe grapes, and unripe mangoes also. Next is ascorbic acid, which is present in amla. Okay, there are such other fruits are also there, like lemons and oranges. It is not necessary that only one acid is present in one vegetable or one fruit which is citrus in taste. So mainly this citric acid is present in the citrus fruits like lemon and oranges, but it is also ascorbic acid, means it is vitamin C. Vitamin C is present in all the citrus fruits. So you could write over there that citric acid and ascorbic acids are present in each and every citrus fruit. And oxalic acid is present in spinach. It is called the palak, or it is also present in tomato also. Okay, next we will find out that, and it is one activity given over here, and I think this activity is given in your book also. So in NCERT book, one table is being given regarding acids and bases. So acids we have discussed. You will find out the table of base also from your NCERT book. Fine. Now what you have to do, you have to test the litmus. You have to perform a litmus test. What is this litmus? I have already told you that it is an indicator which is obtained from the natural thing, that is lichen. It is obtained from the extract of lichen. So what is this activity about? Let's read. So this activity says we can test the presence of an acid in a substance by performing litmus test. For example, we can perform litmus test to show the presence of lemon in lemon juice, acid in lemon juice or orange juice, as follows. Now what you have to do is, you have to take some lemon juice or you have to take some orange juice. Okay, you have to take lemon and orange juice. Now what you are going to do is, then you have to put 1 drop of lemon juice and add little water, make some dilute solution. Okay, you will add some water to it, or if you're not adding also, then the quantity will remain less, but it will work upon. Next we'll put 1 drop of lemon juice solution on the strip of red litmus paper with the help of dropper. Now we will find that there is no change in the color of litmus paper. Okay, why there is no change? Which color we have taken? We have taken red litmus paper. Now yesterday I told you that red litmus is going to turn into blue when bases are being reacted with it. Now we are taking acids, so is it going to show you any color change? No, it is not going to show you any color change. This means that lemon juice is not basic in nature, because it is only going to change the basic substances. When we are going to test with red litmus, it is going to turn to blue. Now what we are going to do, we'll take the red litmus paper, we are going to take blue litmus paper. Okay, now blue litmus paper is taken over, and we'll put 1 drop of lemon juice or lime juice over it, and it is going to change its color. What kind of color change you will obtain? It is going to just turn into a red colored solution, red colored litmus paper. So this blue is going to turn into red. Blue litmus paper is going to turn into red. This shows that the lemon juice contains acid in it. So this is because acidic substances are there, and acid turns blue litmus to red in color. Okay, please remember this. Blue litmus red with acid, red litmus blue with bases. Now next, organic, you can test many of such solutions by putting one drop of that solution on the litmus paper, either of the litmus paper. First you put on blue litmus paper and see the change, and then you put on to the red litmus paper. So all the acids are going to work only with the blue litmus paper, which is going to turn red. Okay, fine. Now next is the organic acids are naturally occurring acids. They are the weak acids. Why weak acids? See, what is the meaning of weak and strong acid here? So weak acid means they are less harmful. Means if you are going to drink, we just drink lemon juice or we drink orange juice, is it going to harm us? Is it going to corrode our body? No, it is not going to corrode. It is very weak in nature, so it means it is not going to burn your skin. But if your skin is going to be burned, that will be a very strong acid, and those are the mineral acids. So they are very dangerous to handle. But these citric acid and the natural acids, they are not very much dangerous to handle. So it is the weak acid. Now they are not harmful in eating or drinking such substances which contains naturally occurring acid in them. For example, we eat oranges or drink orange juice that contains natural acid. Similarly, if we consume lemon juice, because it contains an organic acid, it does not harm us. Okay, please remember. Next, organic acids are not going to harm us. Fine. Next is the mineral acids. Now these mineral acids are prepared from the minerals of the earth. They are called as mineral acid. As the name suggests, that these mineral acids are obtained from the earth's crust, or they are present in between the rocks. So they are also man-made acids. They are prepared in the laboratories also. Fine. So these are artificial acids, or they are obtained from the minerals, because they are used in the science laboratories to perform experiments. There are 3 most common mineral acids. Please remember the names: hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, and the nitric acids. Okay, so the 3 acids which are known as mineral acid are as follows. These are hydrochloric acid, HCl. Its formula is HCl. Okay, then sulfuric acid is H2SO4, and nitric acid is HNO3. Okay, so these are the 3 acids which are known as the mineral acids. Why they are called mineral acid? Because they are obtained from the mineral which is obtained from the earth's crust. Okay, so mineral acids are we also use mineral acids in our daily life. For example, hydrochloric acid is used in cleaning the kitchen sinks and bathroom sanitary wares like wash basins and toilet seats. Okay, now sulfuric acid is used in making storage batteries for cars, buses, trucks, and inverters. So everybody is having inverters in their home. So what kind of acid is present in its battery? So the acid which is present there in the battery is the sulfuric acid. Okay, you have also observed that once if the water of that battery comes out and it falls on your floor, it is going to corrode your floor, because it contains a strong acid in it, that is sulfuric acid. Okay, so the storage batteries of cars, trucks, and inverters, they contain sulfuric acid. acid. Fine. Next is the nitric acid is used by the goldsmith for cleaning the gold and silver ornaments. If you have gone to any jewelry shop, you would have seen that the ornaments are being cleaned by the help of mineral acid that is called nitric acid. Okay, so you could see that what kind of acids are these are very dangerous ones. Okay, concentrated mineral acids are very dangerous. Now what is this concentrated word? Concentrated means the acid which do not contain water, they don't have water in it. For example, these acids which are kept over in the bottles over here in this picture, they are concentrated acid. Okay, in your labs also you will see the concentrated acids are kept in the reagent bottles, and these have a label over it, and on the label it is written that CONC, or it is always written concentrated in the full form or in the short form. So whenever you find this CONC word written over there, it means it is concentrated acid. It means it is very dangerous acid. They do not contain water in it, and they are very harmful if they are going to be touched with our skin or with our finger. So you don't have to use these acids without the instructions which are being told in the lab. So please follow the instructions by your teacher given in your lab while handling these concentrated acids, as they are very dangerous. So these acids are going to burn our hands and clothes, so you don't have to touch them with very carelessly. Okay, so these acids should be handled with great care. In laboratories, acids are generally mixed with water to dilute it. Now the next word, one word is concentrated, which means do not contain water, and the next word is dilute. So this dilute means the acids they are having much more water in it as compared to the concentrated ones. So we are going to make dilute acids from concentrated acid by adding water to it. Okay, when we are adding water to these concentrated acid, it becomes dilute acid. So please remember these two words, that acids are of two types on the basis of their concentration, on the basis of the water content. They are the concentrated acid and dilute acids. Next is the mineral acids. They are these mineral acids become less harmful when they are used in the diluted form. Okay, so dilute acids are less harmful to us. It has very less strength in it. Now you can use it with care. Okay, and the strong acids and the weak acids, see it's written here also, all the acids that can be divided into two groups, the strong acid and the weak acid. Hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, nitric acids are very strong acid. On the other hand, acetic acid, formic acid, citric acid, tartaric acid and carbonic acid, these are some of them weak acids. Okay, so we have seen that organic acids are the weak acids and the mineral acids are the strong acid, and strongness and the weakness of the acid depends upon the concentrated strength and the dilute strength of the acid. Fine. Next, what we have to study is about the comparison between strong acid and the weak acid. Okay, now this strong acid, the examples of, there are only 3 strong acids, those are mineral acids. So these are mineral acids. Okay, so these are 3 in their names: hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid and nitric acid. Next, weak acid, or they are known as organic acid. So these organic acids are acetic acid, formic acid, citric acid, tartaric and carbonic acid. Now it is obvious that mineral acids are strong in nature. Only mineral acid that is carbonic acid is weak in nature. Okay, there is only one mineral acid, that is carbonic acid, which is obtained from the earth's crust, is weak in nature. But others are very strong, and they are very dangerous for the people if they are used carelessly. Even the dilute acids of strong acids are extremely harmful to drink. So you cannot drink these acid. These are strong in nature, which is hydrochloric acid and the sulfuric and the nitric acid and carbonic acids also. Okay, such acids are very dangerous to drink, even it is diluted in nature. Then also the organic acids are weak acids. The dilute solutions of weak acids are quite safe to drink. Okay, the dilute solutions of weak acids are quite safe to drink, means being weak, the organic acids like acetic acid, citric acid, tartaric acids are used in the food as ingredients. Okay, they are used to make pickles, they are used to make ketchups, they are used to make many food like pickles and the ketchups, they are containing acetic acid in the form of vinegar. So vinegar is a very good food preservative which is used in the packed foods. If you turn the bottles of these jams and sauce and even the pickles, you will see that one of the most food preservative ingredient is the citric acid, or sometimes it is written the food preservative. So in that they contain the sodium benzoate as an acetic acid and vinegar. So these are the common names which are used in the food factories where the food are being packed. Next, the carbonic acid is not an organic acid, but it is a weak acid. It is an organic acid, but it is weak acid. It is used in fizzy soft drinks and soda waters, and it gives pleasant taste. Okay, so whatever acid you are going to drink, that those carbonated drinks are there, carbonic acid is present in it, which is going to give you a fizzy appearance. So whenever you are going to drink a bottle of cold drink, then you will see that it is having a fizzy appearance. It means many bubbles you could see. Okay, so these bubbles are there, which provides the fizzy smell, which provides a fizzy taste to these soft drinks. So they are and the soda water also contains the carbonic acid in it. That is why it is going to give you a fizzy appearance. Okay, so it gives a pleasant taste, but it is not good for your health. Drinking acid is not good for your health, so please remember. Okay, now next is the harmful effect of the acid when it is coming in the environment. Now from where is the acid coming in the environment? So we have all heard about this acid rain. Okay, so we have heard about the word acid rain. It is the rain which contains a higher level of acid in the than the normal in the acid rain. It is called acid rain. Means when the acid is coming down on the earth's surface with rain water, it is called acid rain. Okay, so acid rain is caused by the acidic gases like sulfur dioxide. It is caused because of sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide and carbon dioxide. So these are the three important gases which are reacting with water to form acid. Okay, now which are released in the air as pollutants during burning of various fossil fuels or various fuels. Sulfur dioxide gas is falling with raindrops to form sulfuric acid, and the nitrogen gas is dissolved in the raindrops to form nitric acid, and whereas the carbon dioxide gas dissolved in the raindrops to form carbonic acid. So this sulfur dioxide is going to form which is reacting with water and going to form as sulfuric acid. It is going to form H2SO4, and if this one nitrogen dioxide is going to react with the water, which is going to form nitric acid. Okay, HNO3. Then next is the carbonic acid is formed when carbon dioxide is reacting with water, which is present in the clouds. And now whenever the rainfall is going to happen, it is going to precipitate, it is going to come down on the earth's surface in the form of the strong acids, that is the sulfuric acid, the nitric acid and the carbonic acid. Okay, now you know that wherever these acidic water is going to fall, it is going to damage the surface, whether it is a plant surface, whether it is an animal surface, or whether it is a building's surface. So it is very dangerous. So they are going to acidify all the water bodies wherever these acids are going to be mixed, and they are going to cause the damage to aquatic life like fish, trees, crop, metal structures, stone buildings and monuments. So these happens as follows. Now what happens here? Acid rain makes the water of the lake and the ponds and the river too acidic. Why? Because rainfall is happening over each and every object. It is not going to happen that it is only going to be happening in the forest area, or it is going to only happen in the land area. It is not going to be poured in the water. So from the land also the water is running off and it is mixing with the rivers and the ponds, which is making this water too acidic for the fish to live in. As if we have to drink this acid, are we able to drink these acids? No, we are not able to drink. We cannot live in the acid. We cannot just put our hands in the acidic water for some time, because it is going to burn. So what happens if it is going to be mixed in the water of the fish where they are living, in the ponds or in the rivers or in the lakes? Okay, so it is going to harm the fish. That is why these animals are getting killed over there. Next is the acid rain eats up the leaves of trees gradually. Means trees are going to lose the leaves, as the leaves are going to be corroded away because of the damage which is caused by the acid which is falling in the form of rain. Okay, it is going to damage the metals like steel bridges whenever it is falling on it. It is also damaging the structure of the buildings and the monuments. So this is how acid is going to react with the different objects in the form of acid rain, and it is going to cause harmful effect on the earth's surface. Okay, so this acid rain is because of air pollution which is happening. Okay, it is because of air pollution, because air pollutants are there which is going to harm you all. Fine, so please stop making these kinds of air pollutants which is harming the environment, and it is again harming us only. It is going in the atmosphere and it is returning back in the form of acid rain. Now next we are coming up to the bases. Okay, now what is the meaning of this base? Okay, so these bases are the bases of the substance. If we take baking soda to taste it, the baking soda appears to have a bitter taste. Okay, it is tasting like a neem leaf. Okay, so if we are going to rub a solution of baking soda in our fingers, it feels soapy to touch. Okay, it means it is slippery in their touch. So once if you have tasted the shampoos and the soaps while bathing, then you will feel that these have a very bitter taste. So why they're having bitter taste? Because they contain a chemical called bases. So we know that now bases, what are bases? These are the chemical substances which are bitter in taste, and they are slippery to touch, they are soapy to touch. Then they are going to turn which litmus to which color? It is going to turn red to blue color. Okay, so these are the three specific characteristics of base. That base are bitter to taste, soapy to touch, it turns red litmus blue, and they are also corrosive. They are also corrosive in nature, so they are going to harm your body if you are taking that base in a very large amount, and if the strong bases are there, they are going to harm you up. So they are also corrosive in their original forms. Okay, now next we are going to study about is the definition of this acids. These bases are just opposite to acids. Okay, so a substance which neutralize acid to form salt and water is called a base. Okay, we'll read this. We are going to discuss the definition of these acids and bases when we are going to read the neutralization reaction. Okay, once you know about a neutralization reaction, you will come to know that what is acid and bases on the basis of that neutralization reaction. Okay, now next, till the time you should know that what are bases. These are chemical substances having bitter taste, they are corrosive in nature, they are soapy to touch, and these are turning the red litmus to blue in color. Now the examples of acids are as follows: sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, calcium hydroxide, magnesium hydroxide, and this one, sodium carbonate, sodium hydrogen carbonate, ammonium hydroxide. All these are the examples of your strong bases. Okay, a base which is soluble in water is called an alkali. Now this is a new word. With what is an alkali? Alkali means the bases which are soluble in water. Now all these bases which are given above, they are soluble in water, and all of them are known as alkalis. Okay, so these are called alkalis. Why? Because they are soluble in water. So what are bases? Bases are the substances which are bitter in taste and turns red litmus blue, and they are soapy to touch. But if these bases are soluble in water, they are known as alkalis. And all these bases which are written here in the form of examples, these are alkalis because they are soluble in water. Fine, so this was about bases. Now next is about the bases which are the sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide are found in the soap. Okay, now next is the calcium hydroxide is found in lime water, and the magnesium hydroxide is found in milk of magnesia. This milk of magnesia is also known as the antacids. Now what are these antacids? We are just going to discuss it in the later few slides. Okay, now next is the ammonium hydroxide, that is ammonium solution found in the window cleaners. Okay, next, sodium carbonate is found in washing soda, they are found in the washing powder also. Okay, now next, sodium hydrogen carbonate is used to make the baking soda. So these are useful bases which are used in the various ingredients, as a various ingredients in the various types of chemicals which are used in our homes. So like acids, bases are also are strong and weak. Some of the strong acids and weak acids are given below. Now the strong acids are sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide, whereas weak acids are calcium hydroxide, ammonium hydroxide, sodium carbonate, magnesium hydroxide and sodium hydrogen carbonate. Now we can see that sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide are the strong bases. The strong hydroxide is commonly known as caustic soda, and potassium hydroxide is commonly known as caustic potash. Okay, so I think you need not to know all these very chemical names of these, and then chemical names of these strong bases and strong acids. So you just have a brief view about the various types of names of various types of strong acids and weak acid. You could learn few of the examples of the above which is given here. Okay, now the word here caustic means very corrosive, so means it gives you burning sensation if it is handled carelessly. So you have to handle these strong bases also very carefully. Okay, so next is the magnesium hydroxide is however a weak acid which is safe to drink, and we are using it in the form of antacids when we are going to cure indigestion. Okay, when you will see that there are many products which are available as antacids, such as such as Diagene, all these are there which is going to have such antacids in it. So they have strong base which is going to help you for drinking. Milk of magnesia is sodium hydroxide, which is a weak acid which we are using it for drinking purpose for curing of indigestion. Now we know that some sugary substances are eaten up, which is converted into acids by the bacteria present in our mouth. Now these acids are going to cause tooth decay. Okay, this is one of the very harmful effect of the acid, harmful effect of the base which is present in the form of sugary substances which is present inside your mouth. And now for eating these sugary substances, the bacteria are developed in your mouth. So these bacteria are going to produce acid in your mouth, and they are going to corrode away the teeth, enamel of your teeth. So what we have to do to clean these acids with the help of brushing, cleaning the teeth properly, and as it is a base, since acid is present, now we are using the toothpaste. Now that toothpaste contain base in it, that is basic, which is basic in nature. So the toothpaste is basic in nature. Whenever the acid is going to be reacted with base, it is going to neutralize the effect. It is going to neutralize the effect of acid. So this base is going to cancel the effect of acid. So that is why we are using toothpaste to brush our teeth, because bacteria are present, they are producing acid in it. Okay, so this is about some of one of the use of the base over acid as neutralization. I'll just come to know, you will come to know in the later few slides about neutralization reaction also. Okay, now the main difference between acids and bases are as follows. Acids are sour in taste, whereas bases are bitter in taste. Okay, next, acids are soapy to they are not soapy to touch, whereas base are soapy to touch. Next, litmus change is there. Acid is going to turn blue to red, whereas bases are going to turn red to blue litmus paper. Okay, now great care should be taken while handling these acids and bases as they are corrosive in nature, as they are going to irritate your skin. What are neutral substances? Now, what are neutral substances? These neutral substances are the substances which are neither acidic or basic in nature. Okay, so they are neither acidic or nor basic in nature. Being neither acidic nor basic in nature, so they are known as neutral substances. They are not going to show any color change in the indicators of any of the indicators. No color change will be shown. So such a solution is not going to change the indicators color either of the litmus or of that phenolphthalein. Okay, so they are not going to show any kind of color change. So pure water is or the distilled water is a neutral substance. Glucose is a neutral substance. Cane sugar, common salt, all these are the neutral substances which is not going to show you any change in the litmus paper. Okay, now next is the activity which is given over here. You have to perform the litmus test as we have performed for testing the base. We are going to perform the same test for bases also. So we have performed already for acid. Now we are going to perform for base. What we have to do is we confirm the neutral nature of the substances by performing the litmus test. Okay, for example, let us take this drop of pure water or distilled water over a blue litmus paper and another drop of the distilled water on the red litmus paper. Okay, you take two litmus paper, one is red, other one is blue. Now add one drop of water to it. distilled water it should be. So that distilled water is not going to show you any color change. It means it is neither acidic nor basic, because these two litmus are going to change the color when acidic and basic substances are formed, when acidic substances are reacted with this litmus paper. So neutral substances are not going to show you any kind of color change, okay, in its aqueous solution or in any type of solution is there. Fine. So next we are going to solve this question which is given here. You have been provided with three test tube. One contains distilled water, other two contains acidic and basic solution. Okay, now you have 3 test tubes in which that one is having distilled water, other one is having the acidic solution, and other one is having a basic solution. Now if you are given only red litmus paper, how will you identify the contents in the each test tube? Only red litmus paper you are having, and you know that this red litmus is going to change into blue when it is going to react with base. Okay, so we are going to just turn wise we are going to put one drop of water to it. Now first one is you have to put red litmus paper on all these 3 test tubes turn by turn, and you will see that this red litmus will turn to blue only with the basic solution. The basic solution, the blue litmus is going to be formed, the blue litmus paper forms here is now utilized to test the acidic solution. So now whenever you are adding that blue litmus paper is being formed, that blue litmus paper you will add it in the solution of distilled water, and you will add the solution of the acidic solution. Now again what will happen, it is going to turn with acidic solution, this blue litmus paper is going to turn to red. Okay, it is going to turn to red. So this is going to show you that when the one test tube which changed into blue to red, that means it is having acid in it, and the other one which is left is known as the neutral solution. Or if the neutral solution is there, if you are going to dip this blue litmus paper, it is going to show you no color change, means that will be neutral substance, and the other one will have the basic substance. Okay, so this is how you are going to you are going to test the presence of acid, bases and salt, acid, bases and the neutral substance in the 3 test tubes which is given. Okay, next we have to know that these are the one table which is given here. We have not studied about the elements in the compounds, but we have to remember the common names and the symbols which is utilized in the neutralization reaction. So before going on to that topic, you just go through this table which is given here as follows, and the symbols are given here. You have to learn these symbols. Okay, so please write down these symbols in your copy, and you can learn these symbols before going to the neutralization topics. Okay, so some salts are given, some bases are given, and some symbols are also given. So let's see one by one. The symbol for hydrogen is H, capital H. The symbol for carbon is C, capital C. Nitrogen is capital N, oxygen is capital O. Then sulfur is capital S, chlorine C, capital L small. Then sodium is N, capital A small. Then potassium is K, that is capital K. The compounds in this compound, the formula for water is, so using these symbols we write formulas. Okay, we write formulas. As in maths you are having, for example, you were using for finding out you have to find out the any area of any rectangle or triangle, then what you are going to write? You are using some symbols in it, isn't it? For example, length for L you are using for length, breadth you are using B. Then if you are going to cross, you have to multiply these length into breadth, it becomes the area of the rectangle. So this is how we are going to find out the formula by using the chemical symbols. By using these symbols we are writing the chemical formula. This is how we are using these symbol of hydrogen and oxygen, and it forms water when it is written in the form of H2O. Please remember the way of writing, that where you have to put 2, where you have to put 4, where you have to write capital, where you have to write small, otherwise the formula will become wrong. Fine. Next is hydrochloric acid, that is capital H, capital C and small l. As the formula for hydrogen is capital H and chlorine is capital C and small l, it's written here. So you have to find out you have to write down the formula and learn them properly. And please remember, I am reminding you that you have to write 2 in and 4, and all these numbers are written in the subscript form. Where the bracket is written, you have to write down the bracket. Okay, all these things have some values, they have some meanings in the chemistry. So when we are going to study the formula writing in higher classes, then you will be able to know that where we are going to write the bracket or where we are not going to write the bracket. Fine. So the formula for nitric acid is HNO3, for formula for sulfuric acid is H2SO4, the formula for potassium hydroxide is KOH, potassium ammonium hydroxide is NH4OH, then sodium chloride is NaCl. This is the most common base which is used here. Sodium sulfate Na2SO4, then ammonium sulfate NH4 whole twice SO4, then sodium carbonate is Na2CO3. So there are many examples which is written over here, so you could learn these examples and you can find out the various other names also which is used as acid and bases. So there are numerous of names and there are numerous of formulas. Fine. So please remember all these things we have to write down, all these things you have to study about. Okay. So today we have studied a brief description about acids and bases. We have studied about the properties, that these acids are corrosive in nature, they are sour in taste, and there are two types of acids on the basis of the occurrence, that is natural acid, that is organic acid, and the mineral acid which is obtained from minerals. Next was on the basis of the concentration, there are weak acid and the strong acid. Now strong acid means they are concentrated acid and dilute acid. So these are the classification of acids on the basis of various types. We have studied about the bases. These bases are these bases are bitter in taste. They are non soapy to touch. Okay, so they are also corrosive in nature. These are and we can use these acids and bases in many various chemicals which are used in our homes. Okay, so this was all about acids and bases. I have given you some formulas to learn. Please think over it, and I'll meet you all in the next class with the next video. That's all for today's video.